The S&P 500 has taken a hit, to say the least, over the past basically 5 days, last week, give or take. We've seen what's happened, and really you're down about $20 on the S&P 500. But I will say, when you go and look at the overall chart on SPY, you're still very close to those highs, but you're coming into major critical levels, right? The SPY, you're at your 100 moving average right now, and you're actually flipping it. So this is a major concern. You hold below this, you could see significant downside here. So again, that's why I'm doing a deeper rundown of what's happening overall here in the market. Now, a few things that get me interested looking at this as well, other than looking at some big levels that you might be finding support on, is you're finally back on here. The fear, extreme fear side of the market. And what I will say is, again, we all fall in love with buying stocks at highs. And it's one of the common themes of this channel when we look at people's comments of, do I buy this stock as it's up at highs? Do I buy this stock as you broke out finally? Well, if we mention a stock at a value price that we like it at, I'm not saying that I don't like it when it goes up. I just don't want to buy it there. And again, this is that time of where things get interesting and where you have to shift your focus on what's important and where you think the market is going. So again, listen close, because again, there's options for the downside. There's options for the upside. You just have to know where to look and find out where the best buyers are out right now in the market. Now, one thing that I will add in here as well is this is concerning. Okay, this is the most concerning thing in the market. I was making a video last night. I was making it. I just was disinterested and I just went to bed, to be honest. So JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon has been a direct naysayer, pessimist of the market for the past year and a half. Publicly, you can go look at his comments, go look at it, right? Now, so I want to say that first, that he has already been pessimistic. He's looked for downside. He's expected downside. It's what he said. Now, something that you've seen over the past year and a half are companies doing buybacks of shares. It's very common, right? You've all seen this happen a lot for earnings. Now, Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan Chase, the CEO, he has been selling shares for the past year and a half. Granted, it's a lot less than some of the other CEOs selling shares, but he's only been really selling shares. And he made this comment about a day ago. Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan Chase, said that the company has been reluctant to buy back shares at current prices. Dimon has added that he thinks that credit costs have normalized, basically saying he does not think it's a value asset to buy where you are right now. And anytime a CEO comes out and says that they don't want to do buybacks because they don't see the value basically in their stock at the current levels, it puts you in the perspective of, if you don't want to buy it back, why should investors be buying more? Very interesting. So I'm going to go more into SPY and what's happening overall with the market. But looking at XLF, the financial ETF, you've had a great run. Look at the nonstop breakouts you just continue to have, right? You go to JP Morgan, it's had a great run. But JP Morgan's not operating good off these comments. Your all-time high is 280. Don't get me wrong. Had a fantastic run. Fantastic, right? Clearly outperforming the S&P 500, since the breakout of all-time highs there since, January of last year. Awesome. We can all agree. But now you're getting a pullback. And again, even as you're pulling back, he's like, I don't see the value here. This is very interesting. And I would say XLF financials have been one of the better overall sectors of the market, especially one of the best Dow sectors of the market in the past year. So very interesting. And this could cause some major pain. Now, I will also add here, you look at Dow. Dow was in this pennant. We talked about this. You break below, you're going to get down to 43.5. Or actually, you're going to go to 44K, then you broke down to your next line. Dow's at a major point. And I think Dow, if it loses 43,500, I think you're going to the 200 daily moving average, down at 42.5, 42.6. There's not much here. You moved up very illiquid from basically January 13th into January 19th, just almost straight up. So again, this is concerning. So it's not just the SPY, it's other areas of the market here that are concerning me. But I will also say, whenever you get to this area of extreme fear and again, you look at every YouTube channel, it's guys, we're dumping, this is that, this is bad, this, and this. And you go to Twitter and it's kind of the opposite. It's like, I'm buying, right? You have your perma bull influencers that just only say I'm buying. And again, in a bull market, everyone looks a genius if you're just buying stocks. But you have to eventually come to the point of like, okay, I'm looking at this. I like that everyone's very bearish. Don't get me wrong. But I got to see buyers step in before I start to buy anything, right? Especially if you're a day trader, short-term trader, anything like that. Like you are not the first person to get into a stock. Now, if you're a long-term investor, yeah, you just buy all the time. You buy periodically, set dates, etc. Like you buy, forget, you don't look. But if you're a short-term trader, you have to be looking. Okay, now before I go into anything else, I do want to currently go over Discord just to give you a viewpoint. If you guys are interested in trading with us every single day, the link is down below. Whether you're trading futures or options, we have you covered. One of the biggest trades we had recently was MicroStrategy. And again, I mentioned some swing trades, and then I also mentioned ideas for day trades and scalping. This was our most recent swing trade was MicroStrategy, 321, 250 puts. They were 660, 675. I'll be totally transparent. I got out my last position at around like $13, $12.50. But these things today reached highs down to $23. So again, giving you a viewpoint, different trades, everything like that. But again, I wouldn't go into the mentality if I want to join a Discord to get just pure signals. Again, we give you a watch list every day for our top stocks that we're watching, a game plan for them as well. Tesla was today's big winner, right? Looking all the way for $300 right there, like we mentioned. Tesla dropped like crazy. We also go over different trade ideas throughout the day as well that we're looking at. Then we go into technicals that are more short-term setups are looking at AVGO to the downside, for instance. Again, things like that. Obviously, the trading chat. So it's all there for you as well. But again, I want to go, and that's there if you're interested. So again, going into where we're at, how we're moving right now. Tomorrow you have NVIDIA earnings, which I think is a total wild card. Now, what I will say about NVIDIA's earnings, and I'm not going to have a video later on NVIDIA, but the awesome thing about NVIDIA is you haven't had a good dip like this before earnings in a long time. I'm just telling you right now. You have not had a dip like this before in pre-NVIDIA earnings near the 200 daily moving average in a long time. You see, move up, here, kind of a decent move up, and you had your big breakout there. Here you had a little bit of a dip from basically 74 down to 66, but really that was 740 down to 660. Then you had a good move up there. But most of these moves have been to the upside pre-earnings. So going into NVIDIA's earnings here, I kind of like it. And again, you guys know I don't like trading earnings, but if NVIDIA remains near the 200 daily moving average, like 126, even below, I'm gun-ho about this because you're actually getting a decent opportunity and you're not getting this crazy price of upside pre-earnings as well. So again, I like what NVIDIA is doing here. I will say you're still making lower highs. That is a concern. Going into SPY, what's happening here? You stay above the 100 MA. Again, that's pretty good. You want to see higher timeframes like the daily hold above this. We still have a lot of time left in the day. Very much worth mentioning as well. So overall, across the board, great pullbacks, but you're still above some big levels. And that's what I want to add here is that like you're getting, and we hyper focus when we go to the 5 minute and we're like, oh my God, the market's pulling back. But the second you go to a daily chart or a 4-hour chart, you're like, oh, disgusting candle, don't get me wrong. But you're just back at highs from January 16th. You know what I mean? So you have to be able to process the market from that viewpoint as well. So that's where we're at this currently. Now, I will say if NVIDIA goes bad, the S&P 500 stays below the 100 MA, I think there's a world in which you come down to 575 to 570. I think that's a real possibility, things you have to be concerned about. Futures are hitting major levels as well. So there's a world on both sides where things get really ugly, things get really bad. But again, I have to just talk about where we're at right now. And we can't talk about hypotheticals that are going to happen down the line, especially with a big day like NVIDIA's earnings that are upticking and coming up very quickly. So again, what I'd be looking at, what I'd be watching. I will also say I'd be following on Twitter because again, we've been having a lot of news across the board out here in regards to what's happening with the market right now. A lot of expectations of what's happening with Apple. Because again, if you don't know, Apple's carrying this market right now. Honestly, if Apple wasn't moving like this, the market would be a lot more red. Apple is breaking out of highs basically from January where you struggled at for the whole month of 248. Despite the whole market showing weakness, Apple continues to break out, which they just announced an increased dividend. The company's doing literally amazing. And if the market does bounce, I'm telling you right now, Apple pushes to all-time highs, in my opinion, quickly. I think you're probably going for $4 trillion market cap if the market bounces with decent NVIDIA earnings. Apple goes there quick. Bold prediction, whatever. But yeah, so that's going to happen really quickly if earnings go well. So again, but understanding where the strength is, where the weakness is. The weakness, I've been telling you guys, Bitcoin. This shit is terrible. Again, you've been consolidating. You had the double top. You broke. And you're going down to the 200. I think it's signed, sealed, delivered, you're going down to the 200 daily moving average at 81,600. That means names like MicroStrategy, which I told you guys, these were the best short opportunities out there in the market. It was clear cut. I've been telling you guys for days. This was clear. This was like, this was a gimme. This was a layup. Coinbase, again, we talked about Coinbase. You're just breaking every support on Coin. I mean, honestly, Coinbase probably going down to 190, 188. That's the reality of where you're going here. But again, it's understanding where that weakness is and taking advantage of it. So number one, you put yourself in a position that if you're going to be wrong, you're not wrong big. If you're going to be right, you're going to be right big. And then you're putting yourself on the best position of that trade. And that's why I've been trying to tell you guys that crypto is just so weak here, right? Strong names. I will say Baba holding up. You had a bad day on Baba yesterday. Chinese names had a big pullback. I still think Chinese names look good. I haven't bought back into Baba, but I still like it. Above 138, 139, I think you look really good. Now, I would prefer to buy this closer to 125 to 120. I'll be totally honest with you. We'll see. I'll tell you guys when I buy it. I'll post it on a video here, but Discord, obviously, you'll know first. So I'm watching that still. Palantir. We talked, again, I've been covering Palantir for days. We said below $100, you're going down to $85, $86. Boom. Like it's there's nothing really else to cover, right? We have been talking about this, talked about it in Discord. Discord, you guys have known for literally days. We literally said this on what day was this? Let me zoom back. The 20th, right? What we were looking for, under $100 here, you're going to see 85, 87 quick. 3 trading days later, boom, you're there. So again, what you're looking at, what you're looking for. Again, I'm not going to speculate about NVIDIA's earnings. I like them, to be honest. I don't see a world in which they miss. I think they're in a really good position right now. I think the stock is getting hit. I love it. Again, I'm a fan of where we're at. I think this is setting up for pretty great opportunities. I'm not just YOLO grabbing names like Tesla down at $300, even though this is where we were looking for. And after if you lose 300, you're going down to 280 quick, very quick. But again, it's being patient, letting these setups happen, and taking advantage. One of the names I am watching here for downside potentially is Amazon, which I talked about on Twitter. You broke your 100 MA. You're trying to bounce here. It don't look that bad. We'll see. But if sellers step back in here on Amazon, I'm looking for the 200 SMA down near $198 to $200. I think that could happen quick as well. Top names I'm watching out there. Again, what I'm doing, how I'm watching this market. If you have questions, comment down below. I'd love to answer your questions. You're trying to find buyers off these lows. And again, if you're wondering where you're bouncing at, I posted on Twitter. But again, in Discord this very morning, right? Worth mentioning. Want to be really transparent about what we're looking at here. Futures rundown, 813 before market even opened. You were sitting at 21.4. NASDAQ sitting over the 100 MA. Watch it tested last night. If you get below VWAP looking for 21.33, the 100 MA, then 21.225, and then 21.020. Where did you come down to? Where you really found support, if you want to be totally transparent and honest, 21.20, roughly right there. That's where you found your overall support within 10 points of that level. You're bouncing right off that level back into your next level. Again, it's there for you guys. Lock in, pay attention. More stuff coming out. I appreciate you, all subscribers, things like that, guys. You guys have been killing it. It's been an awesome past 2 weeks. Hopefully you guys are liking the new way we're formatting content as well. We'll be back.